Welcome to the world of stand-up.
This is a great setup, dude.
Yeah?
This is fantastic.
Like it?
Yeah.
We're going to make you famous, Mike.
Listen, good famous?
We're going to fuck up your marketing because you're going to sweat so much. You're going to be Skinny Mike's big products or whatever.
Yeah.
You kind of fucked yourself on that one, you know? Unless it's a different part of you that's the big part.
Well, the thing is I was Big Mike before I was big. You know, that was something my nephew started calling me when he was a little kid, and it just stuck, and I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it could be referencing another part of you that's big, though, too, right?
No, absolutely
It's
not.
not? Okay. I just want to make sure that was clear.
I wish, but that's not the genetics.
Have you seen the movie Funny People?
With
Adam Sandler and Seth Rogen?
Yes.
Okay. This moment right here reminded me of a scene in that movie because if you recall in the movie, I don't know why I start off a lot of my episodes describing movies. I've done it for Sausage Party. Now I'm describing Funny People. Adam Sandler is like a massively successful comedian, super rich, whatever.
Right.
And he hires Seth Rogen to basically help him write jokes and be his opener when he goes to do what he's doing. And Seth Rogen's jokes are always about farting and being bad in bed and everything. And so Adam Sandler says to him in one scene, he's like, "Are you trying not to get laid, dude? Is the whole point of your act to not get laid?" And I just thought about that. I'm like, is it another part there, Big Mike? And you're like, nope, absolutely not. I wish. Well,
listen, I believe in honesty and transparency, and I don't want to misrepresent myself in any way, shape, or form.
Okay.
Now, that doesn't mean that I don't know how to operate my equipment.
Of course.
Yeah. It's just
in a lot of ways when it's a less than average working device.
Right.
As far as
I didn't say less than average. I just said, we're average.
Okay. Well, where I was going with that was it requires more finesse and more detail. So it actually takes a higher skill level to.
That's a good point.
Be average.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. You got to be.
Cock, so.
We're just going to come right out.
Well, I didn't want there to be any questions about this because we're talking about the male anatomy.
Yeah,
and,
that's true.
And his moniker of Big Mike. So.
When I got named Big Mike, I actually asked the kid because I didn't think I was big. I said, "Why do you call me Big Mike?" He was like this 5-year-old kid. He goes, "'Cause you're big."
He's like, "Well, Father Roderick." I thought,
he said
too soon. All right.
No, he goes because like when you walk in a room, it's big. You're big. He was always excited. I go, okay, well, I think he had some parental issues. Maybe I filled a role there. I don't know.
It's possible. You'd have a warm vibe.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. By the way, thanks for coming on the show.
Dude, thanks for having me. This is amazing.
Mike or Michael Roderick?
Oh, Mike's fine.
Mike Roderick, owner and operator of Big Mike's Car Care Products.
Big Mike's Kickass Detailing Products, Car Care Products.
Yeah, I said the wrong.
No, it's fine.
I forgot the coolest part of the name, which is the Kickass part.
Yeah, that was when it was actually my artist who does all my design on my labels and stuff that came up with that. And because I said one of the things I always tell people is, hey, keep kicking ass, right? And she goes, you should put Kickass Detailing Products in there.
For the record, you've never told me that. But
I've never told you to keep kicking ass?
You never told me personally to keep kicking ass.
Maybe it's because there's nothing, like you just do it. Like that's I don't have to remind you.
Continue your story, though. I just want to make sure that was clear since you always
I'm going to make sure to rearrange that. So, but I remember like we were talking about it and there was a person that said, I don't know if you put that on there, that might offend or alienate some people. And I just thought, well, then we're for sure doing it.
Yeah.
Like that was the stamp of approval for me.
That guy probably has never bought car care products either.
For sure, he has never bought car care products and kind of overthinks the marketing process a little bit. And
maybe you should start a subline for that guy and call it like Beta Bills.
Like less than impressive car
Beta
care.
Beta Bills, less than impressive.
Small Mike's not so shiny wax.
No, we don't want to say small Mike because we want them to own it. Like, this guy's a beta. Like, he's just Beta Bill. Like, I'm buying Beta Bill's products because, I don't know, they kind of work, I guess.
Beta Bill's not so shiny. We don't really want to make a big deal out of it. I'm not trying to show off. That's the guy. Yeah.
Beta Bills, my car care products are
If you, do they work great? Yeah. They're so. This is for your cars. This is for like a 98 Accord, you know, nothing special.
This is for that Corolla that's rolling at the college.
Gets me from A to B. That's that guy.
It needed the wax 2 years ago. Still hasn't got one, but maybe we'll think about it now that beta bills are on the market.
I was at my dad's last night, and we were talking about my dad likes, and it was funny that you made the Camaro joke today, because my dad's like, I love those new Camaros, because he was all disappointed when I told him.
Camaros, you mean Corvettes?
No, Camaros, because you made the joke about it. But I said... He goes, I told my dad that in 2024, the Camaro's going away. He was all disappointed, like, oh, man, I probably won't have one by then. And he goes, well,
they don't disappear.
So I said, you can get a used one. He goes, well, there's no, it's okay. There's no really utility with that. Anyway, I go, people don't buy those because you can fit groceries in the back. Yeah. That's not why they're...
Dude, did you see the new trailer hitch option they have on the Camaro? It's amazing.
And it'll tow up to a 5 foot.
I'm going to get one for the lawn care business. It's going to have my mowers behind it.
Dude, there is a guy in Vegas. I'm not shitting you. He runs a pretty successful mobile detailing business out of a Mustang.
Really?
Like a late model Mustang. And I've talked to him. He buys some of my stuff. I go, why don't you just get a truck? He's like, it's a yellow Mustang. It's very flashy. I'm like, okay, well.
That's dope.
Literally took out the back seats, it's had a water tank back there. I'm like, okay, I think you've not helped the resale value, but maybe that's not what he's worried about. So,
well, it's a marketing piece at that point.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about it here. I've never met this guy. I'm like, that's hilarious. And I'm also wondering, so can you get a trailer hitch on it? Can you go to U-Haul and have them put like a tow package on the back of your Camaro? Bro, you can put a trailer hitch.
If you can find some dude with a welder, you can get a trailer hitch on anything.
Okay.
Have you ever seen people towing like I had a lady.
I don't live in West Valley, dude.
True, that's true. But
that was a Salt Lake joke, friends.
So for my Vegas friends listening, that would be like Hendertucky. We call it, like that's old Henderson, so West Valley. So yeah, they'll get that joke.
Hendertucky,
they call it.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah, it's quite the place. They have their high school out there is literally called Basic High School.
We're not even trying to name it, dude.
And listen, I know I'm going to have friends that listen to this who have attended Basic High School, and offense is meant. Please take offense to this. So,
dude, how shitty is that if you were the valedictorian of Basic High School?
Yeah.
Do they have like mediocre college that they go to after being in Basic High School?
The crazy thing is like sports wise, like their baseball team, they're legit.
They slap, yeah.
But it's Basic High School, and now it's Basic. I think it's like Basic Academy of the Arts or something. Like they've tried to rebrand it, but it's like you have basic in it.
I think that name is more offensive than if it was like Redskins High School or something. Like that's
right. Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah,
Talk about underachieving.
Yeah. And but that's one of those. If you do like go out to a baseball game, like my kids go to Green Valley High School, and so when they play, that's a kind of a rivalry, right? When you go out there, like those parents will fight. Like they'll fight over.
Sure, they will, dude.
They'll fight over you chirping at. It's not just friendly chirping out there. So, you got to be careful. But we have that here. And
so they're like, really, that's so basic.
Yeah, it's so basic. You guys are so basic.
So basic.
I'm going to get some flack for this for sure.
What's next? Extra high school?
That's Andre Agassi Academy. We have that too.
Okay. Are you serious? You have Andre Agassi Academy? Okay.
Yeah.
Is he from Vegas? I didn't know that.
I think he is from Vegas. And then that one was for like, it's kind of like for the underprivileged kids. Okay. But they, in all fairness to that, they do a good job. He puts out a good product. The kids turn out to be pretty good people. So
okay,
yeah,
that's good. So Big Mike's Kickass detailing products. I said it accurately.
100%.
Okay, why that, dude? Why'd you get into that?
So I started detailing cars professionally. Here, I grew up here in Salt Lake. When I say professionally, like where I was getting paid for it when I was like 15. There's a guy I went to school with who we're chatting. We weren't even friends. Like we knew each other. And he tells me how he's got this idea and he needs a pressure washer. And my family still owns a business here in town selling that kind of stuff, selling car and truck wash equipment and stuff. And a pressure washer is pretty basic in that world, but they sold them. And I was like, hey, dude, let's hook up here. So he had a truck, I got the pressure washer, and we went out and we'd roll up to office buildings and throw on our nice polos. We were, nice white suburban kids and go in and get the keys to Mercedes and Porsches and stuff like that. And for us, honestly, like if they would have said do it for free, we'd be like, no problem, because we were driving these bitchin' cars, right?
Right.
But that, like, the first thing for me was I liked being around the cars. Cars were cool to me. But what I also liked, and this will sound all dorky, but I liked the fact that you could take something that looked like shit and make it look really good. And people would come out, like, it was this big dopamine rush for me for somebody to come out and be like, "Whoa, my car looks fantastic." Maybe I wasn't getting that at home, so I got it from some random person at a title company who paid me to wash their Mercedes, you know? Right. And then the other thing was the fact that I had friends that worked at places like Skipper's Fish and Chips and shit, making $4 an hour, and I'm making $40 an hour, and I'm 15, 16 years old. And so I just kept doing it, and I'd get better at it, and then we got another rig, and then, we got another truck or another trailer or something. We just kept expanding. And it was awesome because in the wintertime, when there's no cars to be detailed, I'd just go snowboard. I'd get a job at a ski shop or something and snowboard. And then I got married pretty young. Got married when I was 21. And by the time I was 22, we had a kid on the way. And
sounds about right.
Right. You're following the cultural timeline.
Yeah.
And it was starting to get like, hey, this is really cool. In the summer, we make a lot of money, and then we don't make anything in the winter. And so I started to look at how can we keep doing this? And I tried having a detail shop. Because before that, I was all mobile, went to people's businesses. And I had, like, we were doing jazz players' cars and stuff. So, you know, it was cool to be in that circle, right?
Sure.
Especially being so young. And then I went, I opened this shop out in Murray, and we started doing like used car reconditioning. I was terrible with accounting. So like I would have $15,000-$16,000 in accounts receivable that I wasn't collecting on and things like that. And then you'd go to collect, and the dealers would be like, "Oh, it's been 31 days. We only pay up to 30 days." And so I wasn't good at that part.
That sounds shitty.
That was dumb. I was a young kid.
Well, no, like that a dealer would be like, "Yeah, 31 days."
It's
like,
crazy to think a car dealer wouldn't honor their.
I know, the bastion of
integrity and honesty.
Integrity and honesty, yeah.
But anyhow, so then I went down to a wedding in Vegas. A friend of mine was getting married down there, and I went down there July of 2001. I met a guy who was a bigwig with a company called Bell Transportation. I don't know if you've ever. They are the limo company. They got like 400 limos in town. They contract all the hotels and stuff. And I met this guy, and he was like, "Yeah, man, I need, we go through these detailers, and I don't have anybody, and da-da-da." I go, "Well, I want to move down here. I want to find something year-round. Why don't we set this up?" So we moved. We set it up with the guy. Everything was good. We had just started doing a couple of cars, we were coming down doing a couple days. I say we, it was me at this point. And 9/11 happens. And everybody, kind of like when the pandemic happened, everybody just shut their doors to everything and panicked a little bit. So I was on my own. So I started doing mobile detailing again, and eventually just, I had to kind of grow up, and I was a one-man operation, and I hadn't learned about scaling, and, now I understand that stuff to at least some degree, where I was the guy that had to be the guy running the machine and polishing the cars, and now I understand, no, you get other people to do that.
There's a legitimate, like, control issue when it's your baby.
Sure. And
it takes a lot of, like, trust to let that go. I remember for my podcast business, Audio Automated, when I hired my very first producer. Because before then, it was me doing the consulting, it was me doing all the coaching, it was me doing all the creation. I was balls deep in Logic Pro, mixing tracks. Everything was me.
Right.
So similar to what you, in that moment when I hired it out, I felt this, like, sense of relief. That was like, oh, so I can now think about... It's like
this leap of faith, but at the same time...
when you're the only guy in your business, it's very difficult to have the energy to want to grow your business. When you're exhausted from being the employee, you're not thinking about, oh, I want to do more work.
Yeah. And it's weird, too. I had a weird approach to the whole thing. Anything to do with cars brings a mega ego with it, right? Whether you're selling cars, detailing cars, fixing cars, racing cars, there's a mega ego that goes along with car stuff, with the car culture. And like my ego was more centered around the fact that I developed this way to, kind of run an assembly line, and I could go out and instead of doing 3 or 4 cars a day, I was doing 12 and had a route going and stuff. And I kind of rebuilt that in Vegas. And then, like I said, I just kind of had to grow up and move on. And I sold all my stuff and kind of parceled it out. And then I went to work for the man, And then, but what I really wanted to do all those years ago was I used Meguiar's products and Adams products and stuff, and I always thought, man, these look sexy. They're great products. I know these guys didn't invent. They're not chemists, They're just car detailers that wanted their products, and I always wanted to do that. And so, right before the pandemic hit, when nobody knew it was coming, looking back though, I think we all figured something was coming. But
in retrospect,
retrospect. But before it was coming, I had actually the girl who does my artwork. We're sitting down at lunch and stuff, and I'm, chirping about it. And she goes, just do it. What do you got to do? And I was like, I don't know. And I guess we'll look on the Google machine. And I Googled it, and I found a couple of chemical manufacturers. They made a couple calls, got a couple samples, threw some labels on, and here we are.
So how involved are you if you say, can you change up your formulas and stuff if you?
Yeah, so I'm not, let me make it very clear. I'm not a chemist. But what I can do is, my very first product that I had conceptualized in my head was I wanted a really high shine, easy to apply for civilians car wax. And all my products, I try to have some kind of shtick or theme or something with them. And side note, I'm a huge Beach Boys fanboy. And
you can kind of tell with your artwork.
Yeah, right? It's kind of Southern California and everything.
It's cool.
And thank you. And the product I came up with, I go Endless Summer. That's like a famous Beach Boys record, and there's a great surf documentary called Endless Summer. Because my thought was, when somebody puts this on their car in January, I want it to look like it's a hot summer day, right? I want it to be shiny like that. So that's where that came from. So I told my manufacturer we had chosen the product. And when they send me samples, they're either clear or white. So I said, look, I want it to smell like summer and look like the Pacific Ocean. And the guy's like, all right, I think I got you. And so he sends me the bottle of it, and it's blue. And he goes, and it was funny because he goes, dude, I went and Googled it. He goes, did you know the Atlantic Ocean looks different than the Pacific Ocean? And I was like, yeah, of course I knew that, bro. I didn't. And then it smells like suntan lotion. And dude, everybody
the Atlantic Ocean smells like suntan lotion?
No, the Atlantic Ocean smells like shit, I think. I don't know. Okay. No, sorry, no, I don't know.
So no, but the Pacific Ocean smells like suntan lotion?
Oh no, my product.
Your product.
My product. That's what I go, I want it to look like the ocean and smell like summer.
Gotcha.
And he goes, and I didn't even know what that meant. I just go, it's got to smell like summer. And he goes, sunblock. And it smells like, copper tone or something like that. And it's funny, dude. Like when we go to car shows and people look at buying car care products like they are making life decisions, right? Like, I don't know. I currently use Meguiar's, and I'm like, okay, well, this is very similar.
Yeah, and you go to that brush car wash that beats the shit out of your car.
Dude, that's what kills me.
And you don't even have them dry it off at the end.
Right. And then they blast it with 1,000 PSI air that doesn't really do shit for you. But anyway,
right.
But yeah, I put that in people's hands, and it does it. Like, I don't know if it takes them back to a good memory, hanging out at the beach or whatever, but people like that. And that's
dude, I've done videos, like I've used your products on my car. And like I even made a comment about how they smell. I was like, this smells good.
That was one of the things that I really was important to me, because I sell my products I say civilians, right? Like I want the guy who is the driveway detailer or the soccer mom or whoever it is to be able to use the products and not have to worry about dilutions, and not have to worry about, is this going to melt my skin off or something like that? Because there's some pro level shit out there that you got to use gloves with, like you have a pretty high end car that you don't run that to just anybody's car wash, right?
I wish I could say that, but
I don't think you're not running that through a tunnel wash.
Yeah.
You're running it through a tunnel wash.
Yeah. So when I first got it, I had full paint correction and ceramic done to it.
Okay.
And I have the guy detail it probably once every 2 or 3 months.
Okay.
But I'm really good about keeping my cars clean.
But does the brush hit it and everything?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's not ideal.
No.
I'll give you that. Like throwing a Ferrari through a tunnel wash is not ideal. I mean, the kids that dry it off lose their shit about it, which is cool. But
that's probably the greatest
my
day.
detailer was like, my detailer was like, "Don't you dare!" Bro.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Where am I going to wash it, man?
Yeah.
There's no brushless car washes over here unless it's at like the rinky dink one behind the Holiday gas station or some shit." I'm like, "There's no way I'm going there."
Well, and I will say, I worked at Supersonic Car Wash when I was a kid.
Okay.
I worked in the detail bay, so I was pretty high up. I made $6 an hour instead of $4.25.
Dude, save some for the rest.
I was
of us,
elite,
bro.
right? I was elite, and it's interesting because the technology has improved quite a bit. I mean, it was basically Dawn dish soap back then.
Yeah.
But you know what you can do in most of those tunnel washes is you can tell them leave the brushes off and just do the chemicals, unless because you keep it garage and stuff, right?
Yeah, my car's rarely dirty.
Yeah,
It's usually just dusty.
so you can tell them leave the brushes off, and it'll just do a soap and a rinse. Yeah.
I wonder how that would work.
They push a button and the brushes don't.
Well, no, I wonder what the quality of it would be. I'm gonna try it though.
So here's the reason the brushes. We're gonna get a little nerdy right here, right?
Okay, let's talk.
Right. The reason the brushes are there is they have to agitate the soap. Like,
Right.
You've probably in your life had dirt on your car and the hose won't get it off, but for some reason you can rub it with your hand and it all comes off. You have to agitate it somehow.
Yeah.
And, again, I'm not a scientist, but it basically, when you drive down the road, your car creates static electricity, and that's what makes dirt molecules stick to your car. And so you have to break that somehow with agitation. But if you're keeping it garaged and, just this little coaching for you, if you're keeping your car garage, all you guys out there listening, and you just need it blasted off, tell them leave the brushes off.
Okay, I'll try that.
If you have, and that's, people have like roof racks and shit, tell them leave the brushes off, and you should be okay. Especially on your car, if your car's not something that you're putting 4,000 miles a week on and out there doing your route sales job or something,
No,
like my
I
truck
drive
is.
it every day, but it's just my home is 2 miles away.
Right. So it's not getting too dirty. And the other thing is, you said you had paint correction, you had ceramic coating. They'll tell you, listen, people are going to hate me for this that sell ceramic coating. It's ceramic coating, so it can withstand brushes from the car wash. If it couldn't, it'd be kind of bullshit, right?
That's why because here's the thing is it also I noticed this. I've done that to every one of the cars that I have,
right?
And we've had a garage space issue recently because we bought 2 cars and we're selling the other ones off now. But I had my Range Rover parked and the sprinklers kept getting it, but the ceramic it doesn't mess it up.
Yeah.
There's no water spots or anything.
It won't penetrate. Can we say penetrate? It won't penetrate.
I don't know. Can you?
Want to make sure no rules about that. It won't penetrate through where like the water spots, the minerals in that shit starts etching into the paint and stuff.
I heard that the one that I had done was like a 5-year ceramic. Like
and if you have it professionally done, I mean, there's shit you can buy at AutoZone that I can assure you is not. It should never come in a plastic bottle. Ceramic should come in a glass bottle. Or a metal bottle. They're very small because you don't need a ton. And yeah, I mean, if
dude, I need to hook you up with my detailer because it's Goat Shine.
I follow him. He follows me, and we go back and forth sometimes. He does great work.
I got to get some of your product in his hands, man, because I've been really pleased. I mean, he's done 4 cars for me.
Yeah,
and I have 0 complaints. Like actually, in our G-Wagon, he does this like little baseball diamond sort of thing on the back with how he brushes it, and Amy doesn't ever want to put groceries in the back of it because it will ruin the way that the
That's awesome though. Those are the touches where when detailers do stuff like that, you're like, if he took the time to do that, he did a good job. Yeah. Right? Those are those things.
This is the ironic part to me, and I don't think he would mind me saying this. He listens to the show. He's like blind in one eye. He has like a fake eye.
Really?
And so like that other eye's working overtime. Dude.
Yeah.
And he's so good.
Yeah.
Like he's so good at what he does.
Yeah, no, I've seen his work, and
he did Scott's Porsche.
There you go.
He's done my friend Brady, who was on this show. Brady Edwards, he has a Tesla. He did Brady's Tesla.
I was going to ask you, did you meet this detailer through like your circle or the other way around?
I think, there's a guy in my neighborhood. His name's Billy Beach, and he has really high-end cars. Like he just bought a McLaren, and he had like a Porsche Turbo S. And I saw the goat guy at Billy's house, and I messaged Billy. I'm like, what's the dude? I need this.
Yeah.
And he sent it over to me. And
Nice.
It was a match made in heaven, bro.
Yeah, it's funny. There's some of the stuff that I see a lot of these mobile guys and these young detailers doing where I'm like, man, if they would have had Square and QR codes and shit like that when I was 19, dude.
Dude, you had to hustle when you were a kid.
Well,
you and I aren't that far apart in age. Dude, I actually had detailing as a part of my
Did you?
Yeah, so before my Mormon mission, I worked as it was an assistant detailer at the Skagit Valley Ford Subaru dealership up there in Skagit Valley, Washington, right by Mount
Nice little
Vernon.
shout out.
Yeah. No, they don't give a shit. I don't even know if they're around anymore. But yeah, it was crazy because like there was all this. I didn't understand the power of chemicals. Like back then, I don't know if this is the case now or not. But when Subarus would come off the truck, the brand new ones, they were covered in. It looked like cum, dude. Like they just had this gross foam crap everywhere, and it was a protectant.
Yeah.
And then they had this like solution that they would spray on it that would dissolve the protectant, and then it would allow them to like, the car to be fully detailed and everything.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called. Body shops use it when they'll spray it on. They just literally put on like a weed sprayer or a foaming sprayer or whatever, and they'll spray it on cars because they're in a paint shop and stuff, and that overspray is going everywhere, and so they'll put it on cars that are just getting some body, whatever, until it's their turn to go to the paint shop. And then, when it gets to the detail shop, they just spray that off, and it's kept overspray. And in the case of transporting a car, like this is one of those things where people go, why do I need to get it paint corrected? It's brand new. And I go, well, because they put it on a rail car, and then they put it on a truck, and it's got iron and contaminants and sap and all kinds of shit.
My detail guy was telling me this, that like, when he did my Ferrari, like the thickness of the clear coat, he's like, I've never seen it this thick.
I would imagine it's pretty substantial on a Ferrari.
And he's like, he's like, you don't see it at this level on any normal cars.
Yeah.
Like they don't care.
Yeah, I mean, dude, even if you take a car like take a Corvette, right, a C8 Corvette,
that new Camaro, it's dope, isn't it?
the 4-seater Camaro.
Yeah.
But even those new C8s. The base model has a different level of clear coat than the whatever L83 or whatever
I think that's what they're charging when they charge for those upgraded colors.
Sure, that's definitely one of the things.
I was like, how could in the exotic world, like a change in certain colors will cost $40,000 on it. I'm like, jeez.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. They're also like. There's so much new shit out there for protecting. I mean, you can wrap your car with paint protection film so it's clear. They used to just do that on the front, right? And then it was...
Remember the days of clear bras?
Oh, yeah.
Or even like actual bras, dude, like the...
My son, my 10-year-old son...
flap on the hood when they were getting blown around by the wind.
Dude, and again, as a former detailer, always on Miatas, Corvettes, like anything with like a real good slant to it. Yeah. And then you'd pull them off. People are thinking, oh, this protects my paint, whatever. You'd pull it off and it'd just be scratched because dirt's under there and all kinds of shit. But my son, my 10-year-old son, who always goes to the car shows with me, every Saturday we're at Cars and Coffee, and he's becoming quite the good little sales guy, but he comes over and he'd taken this picture with my phone. He goes, Dad, look at this car. I've never seen something like this. It's like this piece of leather on the front. And I go, yeah, it's called a bra. And dude, he lost it, because he's 10. He's like, your car's got a bra.
Does your car have titties?
Yeah. It's like, and he goes, look, it's got boobs, And I'm like,
that's a great, why is it called a bra?
Yeah, good question. I don't, why not just call it a front cover? I mean, I don't know. They call it a bra and it's odd, but that was.
It's more, it would be more accurate to call it a mask because the headlights have kind of a look of eyes.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
So where does they get this? Some dude is infatuated with titties.
Yeah.
He's like, let's call it a bra.
Dude, and I'm going to out myself a little bit here, but when
You're gay? That's awesome, dude.
Back in the day, when I would do the cars, as soon as I saw somebody had a bra on their car, I just thought, this guy will pay for any extra I sell him. So I would sell him protectant for his bra, and that protectant rhymed with a company called Armorall. Yeah. I don't want to say the actual name, but, and it was funny because... I'd be like, well, do you want us to throw protectant on there? Well, how much is that? $10. Oh yeah, for sure. Like, do you want me to protect the thing that's protecting? Like, because as soon as I saw that, I thought,
this guy wears a mask right now.
He's got that guy with his front bra or his bra on his 97 Miata. That guy's wearing 2 masks right now.
He's freaking out about monkeypox. I guarantee.
Yeah, he might have it.
He might. Well,
that guy.
I don't know if we should go that far.
No, maybe.
Only
I don't
6
know.
people have it, even though it's a national emergency.
That's true. It is a national emergency. Yeah. No, but it is crazy. Like I used to, I mean, you talk about these stereotypes with cars. A little parlor trick I had is somebody could tell me what car they had, and I'd be like, oh, you're a mid-level manager at a title company.
Dude, you've done that on Instagram.
Yeah,
I've seen that before.
Yeah, and I'm pretty good at it still.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's a lot of new cars out there, but like I had one. I remember one time this friend of my wife's, and my wife, like this one, we were newly married, and my wife worked at the Limited, and she brings this chick home, and there's a whole bunch of people at our house, and this girl's like, well, do my car, and I go, what do you got? And I think it was a red Jetta, and I was like, manual or automatic, and she's like, automatic, and I'm like, okay, so you got a rich dad that had to order that because those are manual cars anyway. And I'm looking at her, and she's got some weird hair color and stuff, a lot of earrings in each ear. I was like, you're second year hair school student. She was like, yes, that's it, of course. I'm like, yeah, dude, stereotypes exist for a reason. Because
dude, if
enough
you were
people
an X-Men,
perpetuate.
would you be bugged that that's your gift?
No, I would like to figure out a way to monetize it somehow, like tell somebody's future,
Dude, get your ass on stage, dude. You keep going to open mics in Vegas, tell some car jokes, man.
Dude, maybe that's a good idea. I could figure out how to write car jokes.
Do it do crowd work. Ask the people in the crowd what their cars are.
Yeah, that would be, and even you could, you have to be right, and people will laugh at it, right? I mean,
even if you're not right, it's still going to be funny,
right? Like, yeah, no, that's. I should. Okay. Maybe that's
it's on the record, dude.
That's on the record. Can you, if you do an open mic, can you just get up and do crowd work?
Of course. Why couldn't you do it? Dude, you can do whatever you want for that 3 minutes.
Oh, okay.
The crowd will tell you whether they like it or not.
The crowd will be like, this isn't working.
Yeah.
They're
back very vocal when it, not vocal. Dude, I was at open mic. I'm back at it now with stand-up. I'm doing it every week again, and I'm writing a bunch of new stuff. And I had this conversation with my mother, and we were talking about the Mormon church, and she used that sentence that drives me crazy that says, well, the doctrine, which is true and I believe it,
the disclaimer
is good, but the culture sucks.
Yeah.
Right? She's telling that whole thing, right? So I tell this joke on stage about that, and I thought my punchline was solid, and I legit had zero
crickets?
Laughs. Like, not even sound, dude. Like, I go, da-da-da-da. And I sit there and I go, oh, wow. Like, I said that into the mic. I go, nothing.
Yeah.
And I go, I'm doubling down. And then I went further into it, and I got a little bit of laugh after it, but I didn't think that would be the place where they were going to hold back.
So do you think is it one of those things where...
I think it was a shitty joke, and it just didn't...
Oh, okay. I was going to say, it doesn't land because...
I'm working out this stuff. I mean, that's the whole point of an open mic, is that it's batting practice.
Right.
I go the
reps in.
Which the irony is, it's the worst place to do batting practice in, metaphorically speaking, because it's the crowd is having to deal with a ton.
Yeah.
It's like a new comic every 3 minutes.
Right.
And so it's not like they're settling in. Like, part of the arc of watching live comedy is you start to kind of understand the person on stage, and you get into, like, they get funnier. If they are funny, they get funnier along the way.
Sure.
I remember it was the very first time I headlined. I had this experience happen in the middle of my set. So I did 45 minutes, 50 minutes my first time, and I had this joke in the middle of my set where I was talking about my wife being a Pilates instructor.
Right.
And I didn't think what I was going to say was considered a punchline, but it got a reaction like a punchline. And all I just said was like, well, that's not funny. And that was it. And it was just kind of this passover to this other part of the joke, And dude, it got like an applause break.
Sure.
Like they were, and I'm like, what the fuck just happened? That's not the funny part, And then when I've headlined several times since then, and you'll get that. Like, the crowd, you got to start strong, but like they warm up to kind of your way.
Yeah.
And they laugh at more stuff than just the setups and the punchlines. It becomes more of like the experiences. So open mic is hard to replicate that just because you don't have a lot of time.
Yeah.
But you can go do crowd work and open mic.
So is it typical on an open mic 3 minutes? Is that pretty much?
No. Well, that's just what Wise Guys Comedy Club does. And there's some brilliance behind it. Like, I wish there was more, but the brilliance behind it is that you have to be ready.
Yeah.
And it goes quick.
Yeah.
Like, if you're up there, 3 minutes is not a lot of time.
Yeah.
So in order to prepare to do an open mic for 3 minutes, you've written some jokes, you've got some punchlines, you're doing your thing. And it also allows, from like a comedy club standpoint, allows for more people to try it and for more comedians to be on stage, which makes the crowd bigger because you can have, at Wise Guys, I think last Wednesday they had like 35 comics that went up.
Oh, wow.
So you have a lot of people, which means they're buying beers and nachos and everything, and then they bring their friends. And then for the more, it becomes a little bit challenging though when you are trying to like write full bits and trying to put them into a longer set.
Because a bit could be 3 minutes, right?
Dude, a bit could be 8 minutes.
Yeah,
like that's a good.
You're
one.
leading them down a path, and it's like,
and so you're doing that work in front of the stage to like squeeze the juice, like to squeeze the fruit and see if it's gonna work,
right?
Because certain things don't work, and you don't know that until you test them in front of a crowd. When you go to like bar mics, there's and here in Salt Lake, there's several bar mics, and you can get 5 minutes, 8 minutes, 10 minutes.
Okay,
they're harder because they're a bar mic, and sometimes you got fucking Monday Night Football playing in the background and nobody gives a shit.
Right.
Or the entire crowd is nothing but comedians, and so they don't care to listen. But regardless, you have to get into that sort of rep of saying your joke in a certain pattern and intonating certain things and working on your setups and your punchlines. Actually, this podcast and the work that I do on social media kind of hacks that system.
Really?
I'm so used to being required to say an articulate thought and to be funny. When we do these shows, I'm cracking jokes. We have a segment called current events where we're gonna make fun of some stuff, and it's the same sort of thing that I can kind of gauge even in my little small group of people here, like if it's funny or not, and then I could take that and try it in front of a crowd. But
do you when you talk the open mics, like that's one thing I noticed because I like going and watching the open mics. I think it's you compared it to batting practice, right?
Yeah.
Like when I like UFC and I like the jobbers. The main event's awesome, of course, whatever. But I like the guys that are literally fighting for their paychecks, right? I mean, here's a guy that you got a guy that he finished his shift busting tires at Costco Tire Center at 6 p.m. and got over the MGM Grand to fight at 7:30, right? Like, so I like. It
kind of sucks that that's a reality, but I get it.
It is, right? But it's that kind of that same thing when you watch the open mic. Like these guys are the grinders and the jobbers in that, and there's a lot of them where you're like, dude, this is really funny, original stuff. There's a lot of them that get up there and it's like, oh, good, more dick jokes, super, dude.
Wait, they tell dick jokes at those open mics? Are you serious? Is that a thing?
And it's or it's whatever they get up. I mean, we were there one night and. It was like 3 comics in a row. There was a chick and 2 dudes, and their whole shtick was either Trump or Biden bashing. And I'm like, you just did the other guy's jokes. Like, you guys want to compare notes before you get up or something? I don't know how it works, but and none of them. And here's the other thing: none of them were funny. It's like, dude, I feel like Jimmy Fallon did that joke 2 weeks ago or something.
Dude,
I don't
doing
know.
political jokes right now, especially, is very high risk.
Yeah,
because it's very difficult to do good ones. And a lot of times people won't even laugh at a good one just because it's about the guy they hate.
Yeah.
Politics are very polarized.
Yeah.
I will give a shout out to this guy. Shane Gillis is one of my favorite
he's very funny.
comedians ever, dude.
He's a guy that got fired from SNL before he started SNL, right? Okay.
Yeah, well, he got hired, and then some idiots went looking through his podcast stuff, and he'd made some Asian jokes that were pretty off color, and the woke mob went after him and got him fired.
Right.
But he's actually it's turned into a benefit. I actually hosted the shows when he came to Salt Lake the last time, and so I was able to meet him and befriend him a little bit. And he's doing this Gillian Keeves sketch show that he does for YouTube.
Okay,
and it's full TV production quality. It's really good, and it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
But in his stand-up, he does a lot of like Trump jokes.
Okay.
But he does it in a way to where he doesn't pick a side.
Oh.
And he does it, and he teaches you how to do Trump. Yeah. And he talks about, are we at this point where we can admit he was hilarious? And he just, says, who shows up to a debate and just says, wrong? Like, you can say wrong? Like,
I didn't know that was a possibility.
Dog-faced Ted, your wife's a dog-faced Ted. Like, he's so funny in how he does it. And he's the most unassuming dude ever. Like he's truly brilliantly funny. And so when I look at doing politics jokes, I look at that as the standard.
Yeah.
Like you can't do hacky Trump, red, orange man, bad jokes and expect people, because there's a lot of people in this world that are Trump voters and like the guy that you would never know.
Yeah.
They keep it shut because it's so risky to have people think like you would actually, you have the lefties that are like, I mean, I'm Trump, I can't believe it. And you're just sitting there going like, well, I'm never going to tell him I voted for Trump. You kidding me?
Yeah, you're like, no, I thought his economic policies made more sense. I'm not a racist. But I
just liked his tweets, man.
One thing I was talking with my 16-year-old son about this, about the I guess extreme sides of we were talking about specifically politics, but I go, you could apply this to sports or the cars people like or whatever. I go, people look at it as like this linear thing, left and right. I go, really, it's more of a cyclical thing, and the left and right of the extremes become the same thing.
It's a circle, yeah.
I go, it's a really odd thing that these two ends don't realize they're the same person.
Yeah.
With one's got a MAGA hat and one's got a Biden bumper sticker, but you're the same person, man.
Yeah, and only one of them has a job. So, ayo. Yeah, it's. I don't know how to handle it. Actually, I think that the pandemic and just the blatant gaslighting by the media and the government and pharma and all that has created this subset of our population and culture that it just won't put up with it anymore.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you and I fall in that category. Like I'm not.
Oh, I don't believe anything anymore.
Yeah, I don't trust.
I'm laughing my ass off. They're trying to redefine what a recession is.
Dude, recession or
2 quarters negative. That's not really what a recession is. It says it in your book.
It says it in the book. Nope, it did, but we changed it just now.
That physical book that you can't erase out of, it's still there. But on Wikipedia, dude, Elon Musk going at Wikipedia was awesome.
Yeah.
He's like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah.
And even there's that Fox News reporter, Peter Ducey, that went at the press secretary.
I saw that.
And he's like, you're trying to definition. She's like, well, no, we're not. And he's like, you literally have changed the definition. Every other time it says this. Now you're saying it's not that? Well, it's not that. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah. And it's, what it's like for me is, I'm sure you're a fan of the Chappelle Show, right?
Of course, dude.
I say, I'm like, we're being Rick James'd right now. Like, man, why would I put my feet on that man's couch? So anyways, yeah, man, fuck that guy's couch, right?
Fuck your couch.
And you're like, wait, what? I mean, that's one of the best scenes ever in a TV show because there's no cutaway, there's no pan. He's just standing there, takes a bit, and he goes, "Yeah, I had my feet on his couch." Yeah, I mean that guy, rich motherfucker, thinking he's got a nice couch, and you're like,
cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Yeah, and dude, when I see them like that guy Peter Ducey, he's asking him a question like, "We never said that." Anyway, here we are redefining a recession. You're like. Are you Rick James right now?
No, the funniest one wasn't the recession one. Was he asked? So I guess the Biden administration has restarted up construction of the border wall on the southern border.
They were never going to build another foot.
They were never going to build it. Like you have clips of Biden saying we're never going to do that.
Not another foot will be built.
The immigration shit has just been a nightmare for the Democrat Party because it's literally just floodgates open. There's all these issues, especially right now where they're trying to force vaccinations and have there be all these health regulations specific to monkeypox and COVID and everything, and they're just going to let them walk right through.
Right.
We're not rebuilding the wall. We're fixing the mistakes of the past registration. Well, why do those mistakes matter if you've been on record saying that walls don't do anything? Yeah. Well, we're fixing the mistakes. Well, what mistakes were there? Well, we're fixing. It's like she looks like the biggest fool up there. I feel bad for her because she's.
I was just about to say that.
They're all puppets, dude.
Yep.
Any of the press secretaries, left or right, it doesn't matter. They have to do the bidding of the big guy.
Yeah, because you can see it in her face. She doesn't believe it. You made can I reference a post you made?
Yeah.
About kind of duplicitous people, right?
Oh yeah. I won last night that I did.
Yeah, and dude, that resonated with me because my wife and I were talking. I said, "Watch this." Bryce is talking about, and I said, this pandemic really exposed. I mean, I saw it with friends and family and stuff where I was like, that it's showing how, I guess, easily duped you are. And I think it's, like my parents, they're baby boomers, right? Your parents are baby boomers. And they were taught to believe the adults because adults wouldn't lie to you because adults have your best
They were
interest
very
in heart.
structured.
Very structured. And now even, like my mom's like what she referred to herself like a reformed feminist. She's like, I bought into all of it. I bought into, if women didn't work, that they were lazy and just didn't want to produce in the system and da-da-da. And now my mom's like, now I realize like it's okay if men do the heavy lifting,
Yeah.
My wife
that's been the beautiful thing about this is it's like reverting back to more traditional values.
Yeah.
A lot of this pushback, like, wait, no, that's stupid.
Yeah. And again, and by the way, that's not a commentary of like women should or shouldn't work. I don't give a shit. But my point
They absolutely should.
But it should be based on what somebody wants to do, not based on if you don't, you're not, and this and my wife, she refers to herself as the world's worst feminist because she's like, my wife's like, she wants to be June Cleaver. Like where she just goes, go handle the kids are fight, go handle that shit. That's man
She's
work.
She's gonna twirl in with your dinner when you're here, honey. Here's your dessert.
And we joke in my house because she'll be like, hey, can you do X, Y, Z? I go, that sounds a little bit like lady work, and then she gives me the eye and I go do whatever she wants me to do. But but my wife is very traditional, like. And this is, when we got married, she was working at a bank and she was gonna move up into the banking system and stuff. And then we had our first kid, and I think she did her maternity leave and lasted like 2 weeks. She's like, I miss my baby. I just want to raise our babies.
Isn't that the irony of the whole thing? Is that the push towards socialism would make it so that women could just not do as much?
I'm on board, dude. Like, I get what you're saying.
It's like, we have, basic income paid. We got all our shit handled. They just want to do what they want to do. Is that the ruse? We're trying to feminism our way back to traditional values so that you just not have to do anything.
Oh, like good point. Like now they're coming full circle, right?
Full circle, yeah.
No, that's a good point.
Like I want to be empowered in the kitchen.
Yeah. The comedian Sebastian Maniscalco?
Oh, I've seen him live, dude. Yeah.
He's one of my favorites. Dude, I saw this guy.
What do you do?
I saw him on the Playboy Comedy Tour, Court McCown's Playboy Comedy Tour at the Palms, and I think there were 300 people in this room. Yeah. And I was instantly, I'm like, I'm a fan. He had that bit about TJ Maxx or Marshalls or whatever looking like Beirut. But he's got this bit he does about the woman, like the woman handling business and like at the airport, and the husband's over there in the corner, like, I'm holding all the bags, and the wife's up there handling it, and my wife's like, no. My wife's like, handle the shit. Go up there, get our bags checked. Like, I had a friend one time. He's got adult children, and his kids came to visit. His son came to visit with his wife. They were leaving to come back to Salt Lake where they live. This is in Las Vegas, and the wife hops in the driver's seat, and she's going to drive home. And my friend he's just like, I don't know, that doesn't sit well with me. And I'm like,
dude, my wife drives all the time.
Well, I was like, what's the big deal? She's just driving, right? Yeah. So then I go home and I'm telling my wife, I go, yeah, get a load of what this joker said. And my wife's like, no, he's right. She's like, no, that's your job. You drive.
Wow.
And I go, but you drive on road trips. She's like, I drive for an hour. That's it. 1 hour. And then you're back in the driver's seat. I'll let you have a little nap. And like, my wife's like, that's your job. You handle that. I'll make sure the kids have sandwiches and snacks. And so whatever.
I was talking with my wife on we go on walks on a regular basis, and it's really a fun place for us to kind of explore different ideas. I had heard this. I was talking to her about this. I heard this example about the differences between men and women in feminism and all of that when it comes to production, and how women do themselves a disservice when they don't acknowledge the power of physical beauty.
Oh, okay.
And when you look at, for example, like the metaphor of the game of chess. Okay. So if you look at the game of chess, the most important piece on the board is the king.
Okay.
He can move one move at a time.
Right.
One square, any direction, but one at a time. The queen can go wherever she wants, however she wants.
Right.
And the statement was made as I was listening to this, like the queen... A woman can show up to the finish line and fuck the winner. And it was like, women have so much mobility. They have so much capacity because dudes like a pretty face and a tight ass. Mm-hmm. And if you look at what it in business, for example, and women can, of course, be successful in business. I'm no way saying that you can't. There's the I know some real hustlers that are women. This isn't about that. I'm talking about the possibilities that exist because of the differences in the genders, in men and women. That for a man, for the king, to build a business, it's slow moving.
Right.
One step at a time.
One step at a time.
One step at a time. You got to, you eat the elephant one bite at a time. It's slow. It's deliberate. Right. I mean, it can be faster, but it still takes time, right? Yeah. Where
you can't skip steps.
A woman can come in and befriend the man or romantically become involved with the man and immediately have access to all of that work. And then technically, because of how law works in the United States, leave with half of it.
Yeah.
Right? So I found that to be interesting because it's like we have this demonization of beauty, and I think that's partly why. There's a certain, Jordan Peterson talks about how a lot of the things that have been happening in our culture relative to all the genders that are showing up and all these other wokeness in a way that it's creating different, he calls them dominance hierarchies, different ways to compete, because in the typical normal dominance hierarchy, these people suck.
Right.
They don't have any discernible skills. They're not charismatic. They don't know how to really create difference or win for themselves. So they have to create a new category where they're the winners. And so a lot of these categories have to do with grievance. I'm more oppressed. I'm winning the grievance Olympics.
Yeah.
And that makes them feel important in their hierarchy. Anyway, transitioning that kind of back.
It's like collateral or something in that, right?
Right.
Or capital. Sorry, that's what I was looking for. It's like they got this capital or collateral.
Well, they need to feel like they're winning.
Yeah.
Or that they have a purpose or that they're at the top of something.
Yeah.
And so, this demonization of physical beauty, they're even trying to redefine what physical beauty is. The whole body positivity movement and everything. It's a lot of this stuff is truly unhealthy.
Well, not even just redefine it, but also tell me or tell you, that is pretty. And you go, because, look, dude, we're dudes. Some dudes are into blonde chicks. Some dudes are into brunettes. You can't, just because
some dudes like a thicker girl. Some want a skinnier girl. But there's a point where it's that's not thick. And if it is, it's got fucking 6 C's at the end of that thing, okay?
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is you just because you want sure, okay, you can be bigger and you can be beautiful, whatever, to some people, but you can't make this declaration that I have to think that's beautiful.
Well, hold on. I want to make sure we're clear on this.
Okay.
Overweight people can be beautiful, of course. But they're still beautiful in symmetry of face, of skin tone, of of how they carry themselves, how the energy that they have.
Sure.
But even that, sometimes people just want to be I just need to be accepted for who I am. And it's no, you don't, dude. You look gross.
Well, and I'll tell you exactly why you're correct on that is because if they weren't pretty, they'd just be overweight, right? If they were average looking and overweight, no second look. We do the thing where we're well, it's a good thing they're pretty, and I think that to your point, that's the point you're making. If they were just average looking, the overweight thing ain't carrying any water with them.
Well, dude, have you seen Bill Burr's new special?
Some of it,
at Red Rocks. He has that bit where he talks about that. He goes, the biggest ruse is these average, unattractive, basic-looking people convincing you that they should be on TV and on magazine covers.
Right.
And it's this whole thing trying to have diversity of all this. No, I want to go back to the time when pretty people were what we saw in our movies and our TVs.
I'm with you, man. And now I do think that there's...
It's escapism. I don't need to be reminded that everybody's ugly. I don't want to watch...
Yeah.
No, hold on. Everybody's ugly.
Yeah.
We have so many ugly people in this world.
Otherwise, we'd all be on TV,
and
right?
that's fine.
Yeah.
That's the dominance hierarchy,
right.
dude. There's movie stars and musicians, and there's models. They're hot.
Yeah.
And they get the attention because of their physical beauty. There's nothing wrong with that. People just need to stop getting their panties in a bunch about the reality of that. Or, I guess, and as well, if you... Get in the game. Get in shape. Do what you need to. You have control over that.
Well, when you talk about actors or musicians or whatever, there's average or maybe less than average looking actors that are really good actors.
Yeah.
That's why we watch them. There's no average actors that aren't hot. Right? There's no average. There's no there's musicians that are ugly as shit.
Al Pacino, ugly dude.
Ugly dude, but he's a tremendous actor. So that's his ticket in.
Yeah.
There's
it's kind of the same in comedy, dude. There's very few really attractive comedians.
Yeah, and I've also and I don't know if this is a good or bad thing in comedy. You would know better than me, obviously, but there's a lot of self-deprecating humor in comedy. You know, I used to like Ralphie May. You know, rest in peace.
He was so funny, dude.
He was funny, but he had to come out of the gate acknowledging his weight.
Well,
right?
when you weigh 600 pounds, you kind of need to do that.
But he had to come out of the gate acknowledging that. So it was like, I know, and we'll make some jokes about it.
And for the record, it was a double hinge gate.
it was French doors.
Yeah.
But he was also, I thought he was funny without, like, his not fat jokes were funny.
Well, what you're discussing here is something that it's been an interesting thing that I've noticed, and it's low hanging fruit.
Yeah.
When the fat guy goes up and talks about how fat he is.
Yeah.
And how he can't get laid and how nobody wants him. It's like people laugh.
Yeah.
But it's almost like a mean laugh. They're like laughing from a malicious place, like that guy. Like, but they feel okay about it because he's the one saying it. And it's like the only other way to get away with that is to be if you're not fat or unattractive, or there's not some discernible way to that you need to point out,
Right.
You have to go the other way. You have to go super arrogant.
Yeah.
And be funny about it.
Yeah, that's a good point. There are comics, there are musicians like that, there's actors like that. The act or the musician thing is very interesting to me. There's a lot of really good-looking, shitty musicians, but there's no shitty musicians, there's no average-looking musicians that are shitty. They're top-tier level musicianship. You know, Tom Petty was probably the ugliest man that ever stepped on a rock and roll stage, but he was a tremendous musician.
He still plowed Stevie Nicks, man.
Did he?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Dude, she was a hoe. She was such a hoe.
Dude,
I watched a documentary. Dude, Fleetwood Mac is one of my favorite bands ever. Do you realize how much drama was in that band?
Oh, sure.
She fucked everybody.
Well, she was a witch, dude.
Okay, so no, she had a relationship with Lindsey Buckingham, the guitarist, and I think she fucked the drummer too. And then she fucked Tom Petty, and she fucked, I think it was I could see his face in my mind. I want to say Jimmy Iovine, because he was a big producer at that time.
Okay.
I'm probably wrong on this. It might have been a different group, but she really
made the rounds.
She really enjoyed that time of her life.
Yeah. I'm going to go out on a limb and say Stevie Nicks probably has some daddy issues, maybe. You know, she's a witch.
Oh, I'm sure she had plenty of daddies.
I'm kind of a music snob, and I get I'm probably, I'll say things like, I don't think Stevie Nicks is that great, and people are like, excuse me, she's fantastic.
Well,
Fleetwood Mac's great, but I don't know what Stevie Nicks is great.
I was never a Fleetwood Mac fan until about a year ago. And
really?
And I think it was that stupid Ocean Spray guy on the TikTok that had Dreams, and I'm like, that's a great song. And I started with more maturity diving into their catalog.
Yeah, Fleetwood Mac has a song called Tusk. And I've said that's the perfect song.
I got to listen to that one then.
That's a great song. Live is better.
Well, Amy and I were joking about this. Like, I'm at this age now where I don't have biases against any music anymore. Like, I used to be like, country music sucks. Yeah. I'm like, no, there's some country music that's great. And there's some rock and roll that's great, and some that sucks, and there's some rap and hip hop that sucks. And there's every genre has shitty music. They also have some great ones. So, we have this habit where it's usually every night we have a really nice back porch, and the sun sets there, we have the lights, and I'll sit there and smoke a cigar, and we'll just talk shit. We'll have the Bluetooth speaker out there listening to music and everything, and it's been a fun thing. But anyway, back to the whole Fleetwood Mac thing. Like, I laugh at how, the main songwriters for most of their songs were either Lindsey Buckingham or Stevie Nicks.
Yeah.
And when they were in the relationships together, like some of those songs about breakups and everything, like
it's heavy duty, right?
Yeah, and imagine the fucking band having to show up and be like, Stevie's like, I got a new song, and it's like, might as well say Lindsey is the biggest asshole ever.
Well, imagine being Lindsey, like,
he's like, really,
I guess
bitch?
I'm gonna get up. We're gonna go on tour, and I'm gonna play this every night.
Really, bitch? We doing this? And he's like, you know what? Checkmate, girl. Like, and he goes and writes his own shit.
Yeah.
He's like, go your own way is his song, you know. I thought the bass player and the drummer were just like, these two fucking idiots. And then the drummer's like, I think I need to get in on this.
Yeah. That's why you got to be like Motley Crue and just write very, kind of borderline violent songs about women. And then write a song called Don't Go Away Mad, Just Go Away. Like, you literally say, Yeah, we wrote a bunch of songs that objectify women, and then why don't you get the hell out of here because I don't care.
I really want to get to know Tommy Lee in person.
He seems like an interesting dude,
well,
right?
Dude, I watched that Hulu series about him and Pamela.
Oh, okay. I didn't watch it, but it's pretty interesting.
The guy it's such an exaggerated caricature of it. He seems like a total douchebag in that series. There's a hilarious part of that, though, where like he talks to his dick.
Oh yeah.
Like, and it's like you see his dick, and it's like talking to him. And I'm like, oh my god, they went there, dude.
Yeah.
The iconic Tommy Lee dick. It's got bars. It's spitting. That's not a way to describe it.
I worked as a bouncer in a club in Vegas back in the early 2000s, and there was this one night where he was in the club, and then Vince Neil, who lives in Vegas, he came. And it was like this big thing, like we can't let them be by each other. Can't let them, because that was back when they were not friends.
They're beefing.
You know, when they clearly had enough money at the point. And then they obviously ran out and had to go back on tour 4 more times. But it was interesting. They're like, you got to make sure that they don't sit by each other or whatever. And then it's kind of funny because I think about it and I go, don't they have enough money to just go, who gives a shit? I mean, what are they beefing about, right? I don't know. But
I'm going to go out on a limb, and I don't know any of this for fact, but I'm going to guess that they might have had substandard spending habits when it came to managing.
You think so?
Their tremendous wealth.
I have a friend that works as a bankruptcy trustee and handled a particular rock star's bankruptcy, and he's like, so the band he's in is a corporation, and the 4 members of this band each get $100,000 a month as a salary. A month.
Okay.
They hadn't toured in several years, but their music was iconic enough. And he goes, $100,000 a month, and we're doing his second bankruptcy in 8 years.
How do you fuck that up?
I don't know. And he's like, dude, he has art that he purchased for tens of thousands of dollars that's not worth $1,000. But
it's Hunter Biden stuff?
like artwork. Like, this isn't real artwork, dude. Yeah. You just bought this at a swap meet when you were high.
That's a napkin from the local IHOP, dude.
Yeah. So
that's funny, man.
I don't know. But I could say who it is, but
you tell me off mic and we'll keep it that way.
But anyway,
dude, that's hilarious, man.
So when are you are you doing anything in Vegas soon?
I don't have anything on the books yet. Okay. Right now, my focus has been truly like trying to build a fan base through this podcast.
Yeah. How is it going? Because I'm a fan, obviously. I follow it. I listen.
It's going well. It's growing at a slow pace.
Uh-huh.
The people that watch it really enjoy it, and the people that listen to it, like I get the engagement is great.
Uh-huh.
I'm just looking to have more people see it. Yeah. So right now it closes tonight, so it'll be after this is aired. But I'm doing like a gift card giveaway for subscribers to the YouTube channel, cool. and just wanting to drum up some attention to it. We put a lot of work into it. I mean, my producer does a great job with what he's doing here. I feel it's entertaining. Like I have a commitment to have interesting people come on the show, and it's lighthearted. There's nothing formal about this. I mean, we've talked about everything today, and that's kind of the whole thing we do. Like we're going to do current events here pretty soon, I just wanted to be. I know that this is ostentatious to say, but I don't care. I wanted to pattern it after Joe Rogan.
Okay,
and be like, I just want to have great conversations. Yeah. I'm a good conversationalist. Yeah. I'm not a stupid person, so I can hang when it comes to smart people. I can hang when it comes to funny people. I can lead if I need to, if something's dragging, and be just fine and have it feel seamless. And so I think I've had feelings about the possibility of this show being a monster.
Yeah. Well, I think, it's, people go, I want to do a show like Joe Rogan, but then like you said, well, can you hang? Can you lead if they're not interesting or whatever? Can you crack wise? Can you do that? I love Joe Rogan. I'm a fan of Adam Carolla's format because I like learning about interesting people. People Carolla had Cal Penn on the other day. He's an actor and he's funny and he's a good actor. They talked a little bit about his acting chops, but they were talking about, I didn't know he worked as like a staffer in the White House under Obama. I didn't realize he had done all these other things. And I found that really interesting where you're like, oh, there's more to this guy, and he has a book out. And I'm like, oh, I'm interested in checking that out now. So I think you're on. I think you're on the right
we should
track,
spend more time on this show talking about this show. I think that'd be a great idea.
Well, that's all right. I didn't mean to. I'm just saying. Dude, I like
what
you're doing.
I appreciate it, and you've been very gracious with me as far as you shared my stuff. You've given me feedback. You listen.
Oh man.
So it matters a lot.
I look up to you. I look up to you. You're doing what everybody talks about doing, and you're doing it.
Thank you.
So everybody wants to be a Major League Baseball player, but nobody wants to go get their reps in, get their chops in.
Right.
And nobody wants to be out there swinging at 5 a.m. getting 500 hacks before they go to school when they're 15, And you're doing what everybody wants to do.
For the record, I don't get up at 5 to swing at baseball.
No, but
I know what you're saying.
But you're building the thing that, we're sitting here in a studio, right? Most people buy an SM57 mic, and that's as far as they get with it. And they record one thing, and they listen to it themselves, and they realize, oh, I'm not that interesting. Where it's like, maybe you're not, but interesting people, start interviewing them,
Yeah.
So, hell, go have a conversation with
Speaking
your 80-year-old grandpa.
When are you going to have your podcast there, dude?
Why do you always have to jam me up about that, dude?
Because you'd be fantastic at it, and you keep fucking slowing down.
I say I know, and then I come and I sit in your amazing studio, and I go, I can't be this good, dude.
This is like level 5. You just need to be at level 1.
I know, and I have the first edition of the Rodecaster, and by the way, you're not the only guy who busts my ass about this, and I don't know why I don't, and I need to just sit down and start recording some shit. And
I get it, dude. It sucks to feel empowered and to have money. Because that's what would happen to you if you did your show.
Oh, man. I think...
you already have a sponsor for it. It could be Big Mike. It could be Beta Bills.
Beta Bills, sort of good stuff.
Sort of good-ish. I'm going to wash my car next month.
Dude, maybe... I need to make a funny video about that. Like, you can
welcome,
get Beta
dude.
Bills. Do I owe you anything for that? That's on the house?
No, this is on me, dude.
That's on the house?
Yeah.
All right, good. Well,
you give me. You've been very gracious with your car care stuff, so we'll call it. We're even.
All right, dude. I appreciate that.
Beta Bills. I'm going to trademark it though, so I get paid every time you use it.
We need the T-shirt, yeah,
dude. It's going to be a skinny guy with narrow shoulders and a man bun. Mm-hmm. No. We're going to go.
He for sure drives a Subaru.
No, we're not going to go to. No, because he's not a lesbian. We're going to go to. We're going to.
Stereotypes.
We're going to have him. It's like the guy that it's like the corporate 48-year-old guy that drives downtown and has a Honda Accord. Yeah. That's Beta Bill.
I'm thinking of, do you remember the one SNL bit with Will Ferrell where he's like, I drive a Dodge Stratus.
Yeah, he's like,
I'm a middle manager.
Yeah, dude, that's the guy.
That's the guy.
So good, man.
Yeah, Michael Scott from The Office with his Sebring.
His convertible Sebring.
Convertible Sebring.
That's how you get the ladies, dude.
Yeah, there you go. Your Ferrari's convertible, right?
Yeah, it's a hardtop convertible.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The dumb question, I know. It's hardtop, like it goes into sections.
Yeah, like
or you don't have to pop it off and store it somewhere. Okay.
The trunk pops up and it goes back there. And,
nice.
Yeah, it's a really good looking hardtop and a really good looking.
Yeah. I like that. So bitching, dude.
Yeah.
All right.
Bitching Camaro. Anyway.
No.
What do we got for What do we got for
current events? Yeah. Okay. We'll start out with a light one. Today is the 14th year anniversary of International Beer Day that was started by California Friends. So the first Friday of August has been named International Beer Day, and on August 4th is IPA Day. So beer holidays in August.
That's the worst time to have a holiday where you're drinking that shit.
Yeah.
Because it warms up too quick.
Yeah.
Especially an IPA. Ugh,
I'm not a beer drinker, but I'm familiar with the activity. And I have friends that are beer drinkers, and yeah, the August 4th thing.
Did you know that?
No, but there's got to be a club of dudes getting together with their IPAs, arguing about IPAs. Right?
So, just for curiosity, to be in this club, like, how divorced do you have to be?
I think they have to buy Beta Bill products.
They do have to buy a Bill. Dude, there's got to be a Beta Bill version of the beer too.
Yeah, and there's a
actually
whole,
every IPA is Beta Bill's beer. I can't stand that shit, dude.
Yeah, the people that I see, it's this weird. What were you saying that Jordan Peterson calls it? Like this
dominance hierarchy.
It's this dominance hierarchy where a guy walks in and goes, all these buddies sit down and go, I have a Bud Light, Coors, whatever, and he goes, yeah, but I'm gonna have what do you have for IPAs? You know, and
that's so true, dude.
And the waitress is like, "Oh, this guy, he's very smart." You know, oh, okay. And she's gonna be like, okay, that guy's got no respect. They laugh at him behind, back of house. They're laughing at that guy.
Dude, I used to have a joke in my act where I talked about how we're like this close to the era of a dick sleeve. Because tats are just everywhere, and
that's the next evolution.
But the guy that's going to tell you about his dick sleeve just ordered an IPA.
Yeah,
he's that guy. He's got the wax mustache. He's like, bro, like I got a koi fish, and
the guy with the IPA works it into every third conversation.
Of course, for sure. Well, and when he's doing CrossFit, you know about that too.
Yeah, he for sure does CrossFit.
Yeah, well, that's how he earns his IPAs.
Oh,
and he makes sure he tells you that.
He tells you I earned my IPA.
Yeah.
For sure an Instagram post.
I did an AMRAP this morning and
for sure an Instagram post.
Best.
And the bar that he tags then messages him and says, "Please don't tag us."
Yeah,
they're please don't tag us in this.
Please remove this tag, or they remove the tag for him and just don't say anything. Did a beer holiday in early August. Okay, that's Are
you a beer guy?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
I drink vodka and tequila and that's it.
Okay, so you go.
Which I can't. I would, being a cigar guy, I wish I could drink dark liquors, but I can't anymore. I drink whiskey and it just wrecks me.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I grew up with my three uncles, my mom's brothers, and they had like a hierarchy of beer. They had race cars, right? They had like Top Fuel funny cars and stuff, and it was like you had garage beer. That was Busch beer, right? You drank Busch in the garage.
Right.
And they were sponsored by Anheuser-Busch, but that was the free shit. So you drank that in the garage or in the race shop. And then you had Budweiser at the track.
Yep.
And then you had, I think it was Bud Light was kind of like after the race was over and everybody's packing up.
Because you got to hydrate. You got to
hydrate, right?
Get your electrolytes
and it was like there was this weird like hierarchy of beer. But I'm like a 13-year-old kid. And I understood this hierarchy, So like when I became an adult, even though I don't drink beer, and you see somebody drinking Busch, you're like, oh, garage beer, got it, understood.
PBR,
yeah.
I get it.
So,
yeah, dude, I when I do drink beer, I'll drink like a Shock Top or a Blue Moon, and then I'll just put an orange in it. And usually it's around Oktoberfest. I love going up to Snowbird during that time, and I'll drink two
good
or three
times
of
at
those
Oktoberfest,
steins.
right?
And well, that sometimes makes me wish I was more of a beer guy because when you go up and you drink a full, like 2 or 3 full steins of beer, you get drunk.
Yeah,
and it's fun, and you're at that elevation, like it hits quicker, and it's kind of fun with everything up there. And then you feel like shit the next day because you're all bloated. And
so you go up on a Sunday, call in sick on Monday.
Well, no, I can't call in sick, so I have to do it on a Saturday.
You go Saturday? Okay, that works.
Saturday's the best day for Oktoberfest.
Plus, if you go Sunday, you might see people from church.
Dude, I don't see anybody from church, dude. No, they're in trouble. I don't go to church, dude.
Yeah. Remember, I live in Las Vegas, so I occasionally, almost every week, break the Sabbath because I want a soda or something like that. But it's funny when you see somebody that you attend church with hitting the video poker machine. Yeah. And I go, and then I just walk out. I don't want to have a conversation with him. I don't want him to know that I saw him. It's uncomfortable for me.
And plus, you're probably embarrassed that he saw you walking out of, the Spearmint Rhino, and that was a bigger deal than
you don't walk out of the Spearmint Rhino on a Sunday. You go in on a Sunday. Okay. It's early Monday morning when you walk out. Okay. So I heard, anyways.
That sounds like one of those lores you'd learn to be in Vegas. What else you got, man?
So in the lovely state of Florida, at 4:40 a.m. Thursday morning, a truck carrying 10,000 frozen turkeys combusted and was caught on fire, and they pulled over and they lost 10,000 frozen turkeys just combusting out of nowhere.
No,
okay, so
no accelerant.
No, not what. According to the article,
it just what caught on fire.
The trailer carrying the turkeys. It could have been one of the freezers that electrical airs.
When I hear stuff like that, I hear about like all the different food processing plants that are going up in flames, and I'm like, this is.
It sounds like a con job, right?
Yeah, sounds like some Smokey and the Bandit shit,
Yeah,
that sucks. I bet you it smelled good around that place though, like all that burnt turkey, dude.
I don't know because those turkeys are wrapped in plastic.
Good point.
Ooh,
yeah,
but it's Florida.
I tracked my statement.
So in Florida, they may throw the turkey with the plastic in the deep fryer. I don't know. Florida seems like that place where they don't give a shit, dude. In fact, Florida seems like the place where people went out to that trailer and got those turkeys.
They're like, yeah, this one's still half good.
This is still.
Dude, I was born in Florida, so be careful, buddy.
So you know what I'm talking about.
I do.
My brother lives in Florida. He'll vouch.
Actually, I've been considering dude, Florida seems great.
Yeah.
Lately,
Well, you get to be an adult in Florida, that's for sure.
Well, yeah, in like southern Florida, it's basically like northern South America, like because there's so many. There's Colombians and Brazilians and Venezuelans and Dominicans and Cubans and everything's there. Nobody speaks English or everybody speaks other languages as well as English. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of money there because there's a lot of drug stuff. So there's all the fancy cars and everything that's there. It's very beautiful, but I kind of like what's been going on in Florida when it comes to like their. Anyway, we'll talk about that.
I got you.
What else you got, homie? Burnt turkeys, love it.
Man in Toronto moves into a new apartment and finds a string cheese that is that is not marble flavored. It is So he found...
Reading is hard, huh?
Reading is hard, man. Man who is trying to flip things, like they do these different challenges on social media. They like find a random item, they try to flip it. So this guy put up a billboard in Ontario saying he has a marble flavored stick of Black Diamond cheese string that he's trying to trade his way up to some other thing, but pull out a whole billboard ad to see what traffic it can generate to trade.
Dude, how bored are you, dude?
Yeah, this dude's invested in this. I feel like a Craigslist listing would suffice.
I've heard of those challenges where like they say you have this item to start with and you have to flip it and flip it and flip it.
Yeah,
flip
like
it.
the paper clip and the guy trades it up or whatever. Yeah,
but so it's a marble flavored cheese stick.
Yes, I don't know what a marble flavored cheese stick is.
I'm picturing like
that sounds like it's old and it's hard.
Yeah, like different cheeses or something.
It looks like it's got
Colby
cheddar and like provolone and some other stuff mixed into it.
It looks like it got already shit out. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, that doesn't look like actual cheese.
Dude, I've been to Toronto. It's a beautiful city. What is he doing? He's just bored.
I don't know. Well, they've been locked up for a while, haven't they?
Yeah, dude. Like that schmuck that's their leader is
Like, it's funny, I'm a big baseball fan, and there's all these players that can't go play in Canada. They can't go play the Blue Jays. Yeah. And they got to bring minor league guys up and stuff. But then the Blue Jays get on a flight, and they go to Philly or they go to Houston or whatever, and they play those same guys that couldn't go to Toronto and play. I find that very, very interesting. I don't think it's the players that have the issue.
No, it's just
the country. But
it's the country and it's the league enforcing stuff like that.
Yeah, so...
But...
That's kind of crazy, but but I am curious. Like, forget about what the product is. This dude took out a billboard.
Yeah, he's bored. He's rich and he's bored.
He's rich.
I
right?
bet you
got to have money for that.
He's got crypto money because nobody that's smart would do that with their money.
Yeah, and as much as there's a lot of smart crypto dudes, there's a lot of dumb crypto dudes out there.
Dude, I met I was going to say child. I met a kid that's like 23 that had made $2 million on crypto. I met him like 4 months ago. Here in Salt Lake.
Wow. He's
just a normal kid. He's like some Mormon kid that just got off his mission.
Got into the crypto world.
He's buying fancy cars and shit now.
Yeah. The crypto thing, I don't get it at all. At all.
I do.
You do understand it?
Yeah. But it's definitely confusing, especially it can be confusing to understand it. But like on a foundational level, once you get it, you'll get it.
And well, I think my problem is that my friend who has made money in crypto and the cashier at Circle K give me the same pitch about crypto, and it's got me a little confused. Like I'm like, is he smart or is he dumb?
The bigger question,
or am I just dumb? I don't know.
The bigger question, Mike, is why are you talking to the cashier at Circle K about investments?
So I spend a disproportionate amount of time at the Circle K by my house. My wife says I'm the unofficial HR rep for there. I solve some disputes and whatnot. I got their soda machine fixed through a letter writing campaign.
Okay.
Where I wrote one letter.
So that's a campaign.
So, yeah, it took me one letter.
Okay.
But they responded pretty positively.
That's good.
But, yeah. And I get bummed out when, you show up to get your soda on a Sunday, on the Lord's Day, and Daryl's not working that day because he's been transferred to the other store because he won't stop talking to people about crypto when they're buying their cigarettes. So, I'm way invested.
That's actually not a bad move.
I'm way invested in the Circle K drama.
I like this. I like this Daryl guy already.
Oh, dude, Daryl's a stud.
He's sitting there behind that counter going, dude, I have a captive audience every time somebody comes up to me.
Yeah. I actually...
I'm going to sell some Dogecoin.
Daryl would actually be an interesting phone-in guest for you.
Yeah?
So he's just crazy enough. So, anyway.
Dude, that sounds like a fun thing to evolve to. Do you ever watch like Tom Segura and Catherine or Christina P's show?
Sure.
Your Mom's House? Dude, their production and it's
they're very funny people too.
And how they find all those videos and stuff is beyond me. It's pretty.
Her reaction to those is probably one of my favorite. Like the way, because it's very authentic how she reacts to it. So,
well, dude, Tom Segura he just doesn't have a. What's the best way to describe it? He doesn't have a gag reflex with that stuff. He can look at the most disgusting fucking shit and laugh.
Well, I mean, he hangs out with Bert Kreischer with his shirt off all the time. That's fair,
dude. That's fair.
He's been desensitized. Have you seen the bit with them where? Well, not even a bit. They're just doing their show, and Bert's drinking Kool-Aid out of a tumbler.
Yeah.
And Tom's like, "Holy shit, you're actually drinking Kool-Aid!" And Bert's like, "What's the big deal? It's Kool-Aid.
Fucking delicious, man.
It's delicious." And it's like
Kool-Aid.
Bert, maybe this is part of your problem, dude. Yeah. So, those are funny guys.
Did you know that the movie Van Wilder was written about Bert Kreischer?
No.
Yeah. He tells that story. Like, the
Ryan Reynolds movie.
Yeah,
so
Ryan Reynolds
the character
Bert.
Van Wilder.
He won Bert. Like in college in Florida. He won like an award.
Oh my gosh!
Because of like just being this notorious party animal.
So did he write it, or they wrote it about him?
I don't know. Okay. I just know it's about him.
I'm curious if he got money on that.
I don't know.
Yeah,
but I do know that I've heard it out of his own mouth that like he's like, yeah, that movie's about me.
Have you worked with those guys at all?
I've met Bert backstage in the green room at Wise Guys. I've never met Tom Segura. There's a bunch of other ones that I have.
One of the funniest dudes on the planet that you pretty much turned me on to, I think, was Andrew Schultz.
Oh, dude.
I knew who he was, and then you had me watch some of his stuff, and I was like, oh, dude, this guy is off the charts.
Dude, I have such a love and respect for that guy because he's trying to show comics how to do it.
Yeah.
He's one of the nicest people ever. Like, he's an easy hang. Like, he's just a fun guy. He's hilarious to boot. He listens. When I first hosted, the first time I hosted shows when he came here, I wasn't even supposed to host. I wanted to meet him.
Okay.
And because of the relationship that I have with the club, I was able to show up, and I was there early. And I was pulling into the parking garage at Wise Guys right as I'm seeing him and his crew get out of their Uber. And I'm like, oh, sweet. So I park. I go inside. I'm in the green room. And he comes walking around from the main showroom into the green room with the owner of the club. And his name's Keith Stubbs, and he's there. He's like, "Hey, Andrew, this is one of our local comics here, Bryce Prescott." And I shake his hand and everything. He's like, "Hey, man, it's great to meet you, man." He was just super friendly, and he wasn't supposed to have a host, and we're sitting there talking the five of us because he's got his guy Mark Gagnon who's there as well, and his video guy Alex Media, and Andrew stops and goes, Keith, I know I told you I didn't need a host. Is it too late for me to get a host? And Keith just goes, you want Bryce? He's like, yeah, what's up? And I'm like, fucking be in the room. That's what I got out of that one. That's the lesson out of that one, be in the room. So I'm like, hell yeah. And he's like, hey, I want to talk to you for a little bit. Him and I sat and talked for about 45 minutes, just the two of us. And he was asking all these questions about Mormonism and Salt Lake culture and everything that was going on here and all that. And he was genuinely curious. Like, you could tell there was no judgment. He was just trying to learn.
Yeah.
And when he did his set, he did 20 minutes of brand new material based off of the conversation that
right there.
Yeah, right there.
Oh.
And like, you go deep into his YouTube clips and you'll see where he's talking about, like, he was one of the jokes that he wrote because we were talking about, he's like, do women go on missions? And I go, oh yeah, they're called sister missionaries. And they go, he's like, what the fuck? He's like, imagine some cute little girl walking up to some rapist's house and knocking on the door. I'm here for a message. And he's like, thank you, Jesus. And he does
a good bit.
He does the bit on stage. And I'm like, dude, that's hilarious. Like,
how did it land? Did it land good?
Oh, dude, everybody loved it.
Good.
Everybody loved it. But yeah, dude, Schultz it's been cool because like his special Infamous, they wanted to cut out 2 jokes that he had written.
Yeah. 2 jokes, right?
2 jokes. And he's like, fuck no.
Yeah.
So he had to give his money back.
Yeah.
And at last count, he said this on his Instagram, was that he's tripled that back.
Yeah.
So it was a better move.
Well, and even then, I was reading where somebody tried to hack him and shut it down. Like, they don't. And I don't know, what are the 2 jokes? Do you know? Are they?
Yeah, he does. He does
are they
one
so
about
bad that they shouldn't be out there.
Well, he's put them on his Instagram, and they're hilarious. One of them was about Ted Bundy, and
who doesn't like a good Ted Bundy joke?
Well, it's because it makes women look stupid. He's like you ladies are stupid. Like, he had a tan Volkswagen Bug. Like, that's what he drove. And he
going back to the car thing, that's a rapist car.
Well, dude, here's the funny thing, though, is like, he didn't actually have the funniest of the punchlines, in my opinion, in his special. I saw him do that joke when he came here, and he was talking about how he goes, I watched this documentary with my girl, and you know, he killed all these chicks or whatever, and he's like, but there's one that he didn't kill, and he's like, how good was that girl's pussy? And he's like,
cut that
can you
out.
imagine this girl? Like they're like, oh, y'all bitches got killed. That's too bad, I guess. But then he had another part of that joke too, where he was saying that he's like, I watched this documentary. I'm learning about this guy. He's like, I had to learn how he did it. I had to learn what would get these girls to get into a tan Volkswagen Beetle,
right?
Know?
And go for a drive.
And he's like, and when I found out, I realized all these girls deserve to die. And he's like, here's the line, ladies, you ready? My car broke down. Can you help me fix it? And he's like, I've never driven into a fucking garage and had a woman come out to help me to fix my car and not been like, no, I'm good. Like,
yeah. That's so that's what got him.
That was one of them. Well, the bigger part of that, he did part of them in a special, but the bigger one that he cut out, and the other one was about an abortion joke.
Okay.
Where he was talking about, he was saying that, you know, it's your body, your choice, all that. And he's like, you know, because I just don't want to heat when we get up to, you know, the pearly gates and St. Peter's there, and God's like, you know, why are you killing all these babies? And the dude's like, I don't know.
And you know what's crazy about that is,
the punchline of that joke was,
that's not the punchline.
No, he does more of it, and then he's like, chivalry ain't dead until that baby is.
Oh, I think I did see that.
I'm going to pay
on
for those
Instagram.
sins even when you're going to pay for your sins even if I'm paying for your sins.
Oh man, it's crazy because like, dude, I remember watching like George Carlin when I was a kid, and I feel like he would get canceled now. Which is funny because that's literally the shit he was making fun
Well, dude,
of.
Chappelle says it perfectly. He's like, people have brittle ears.
Oh, that's good.
They can't hear it. They can't handle it.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me why, but I guess I just got thicker skin. I don't know.
I know. I figured it out. You want to hear it?
Yeah.
There's this. So the whole thing with microaggressions and offensiveness and this concept that's been perpetuated by media and just in universities and things. The idea that your behavior has control over me in a way, and so it's your job to curtail that behavior so that I am not offended.
Okay.
Is psychologically impossible.
Okay.
You, on some level, allow offense, you allow happiness, you allow all that stuff. And so we are being shown and told and taught that we have to modify our behaviors for other people, when the reality is what that is creating is a weak and brittle culture of people that can't handle being told things that they disagree with.
Yeah.
Because they have zero emotional maturity to handle it. One of the biggest ways and best ways to be successful in life is to control your emotions, to have absolute discipline over your thoughts and how you feel about things. And the idea that that's a reality is so foreign to so many people in our world right now. Like, you can't control those things. They just happen. Oh, no, you can.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I'm as guilty as anybody on that.
Well, most people are, because it's become acceptable to be able to like freak the fuck out about something and have it be that thing's fault.
Yeah.
And psychologically, that it's backwards. It's like,
it's
why would one person be more offended or less offended because of the same thing?
Do you think so? So then, I guess my question too, because I agree with your statement or with your theory on that. What's the end game? What's the payout for whomever is pushing that agenda? I
don't know that, but
just controlling everybody.
I think that it's something to do with with manipulation. That if you can get people to believe, it's like a cycle. If you can get people to believe that, you can get it to be questioned to what an actual woman is. You can get it to be questioned like the idea of sex reassignment surgeries for 7-year-olds. I mean, all these things are perpetuated in the same sort of foundational misinformation about how we're built.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. I agree with you 1,000%. I just I mean, good gravy, man. I got adult kids. I mean, I got a 23-year-old daughter who's married and has a baby on the way, and I got a 10-year-old son and everything in between. And it sounds cliche, but I'm like, dude, they are coming for our kids, man.
Yeah.
And
well, dude, my daughters are that way. I have a
we've
19 and 17, and it's heartbreaking kind of where they're at. They live in Oregon, and they got all that in their face.
Yeah, and
my younger daughter, she'll never admit this, but she has said to me before that if you're just straight and white, you're boring.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
Like, so
how's that privilege working out? A little boring.
So I remember probably one of the best examples of like that is Chastity Bono.
Yeah.
And I go, imagine being raised in this limelight. Both your parents are, your mom's tremendously talented. Your dad's riding that coattail.
And he's a shitty skier.
Not a very good skier apparently.
Too soon.
But he's in the limelight and he's got some talent, whatever. They're famous people.
Yeah.
And then here you are. You're just the kid of these people. And I don't know if it's maybe the pressure that everybody feels like you need to be as good as your mom and you're not. Or maybe your mom was too busy to get you into the singing lessons or the acting lessons or whatever it is. And there just comes a point where you're like, well, I grew up around this, but I don't have any of it. But if I were all of a sudden something else, now I'm talked about and I'm exciting and I'm unique and interesting and all that stuff. By the way, I tell my kids, just because you're unique doesn't mean you're useful, like
or interesting.
Or interesting.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of completely useless uniquity.
Dude, Bill Maher, we'll wrap after this. Bill Maher had this segment on one of his shows a while ago when he was talking about how basically in certain circles in Los Angeles, everyone has like a transgender kid.
Oh.
And if you look at the same demographic of income in places like Ohio, nobody does.
Nobody does.
And so he's like, so what is it? Why is that the case?
Yeah.
And he's like, we have to be able to talk about this in a real way because his take is that like transgenderism is a real thing.
Yeah, social collateral, right?
But it's being co-opted in a way that is for virtue and for social status.
Yeah, I got one of these.
Yeah, it's like the LA's new version of a Black Babies. You got to have like a.
Well, I was going to say
kid.
boutique dog, but we can go that.
Well, that was
way
the
too.
thing, dude. Like it used to be that used to be a lot of comedians would joke about that 10 years ago. That like every actress in LA would want to go and adopt a kid out of Africa,
right? Yeah, couldn't just head down to your local foster care facility and pick one up.
Well, those ones aren't AKC certified, so
they're not papered.
They're not papered. So.
Oh, that's
because that was the joke. Like, go to Crenshaw, go to Compton, and those families need your help too. Don't even bring some kid off the fucking plains.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway, well, dude, I really appreciate you coming on the show, man.
I appreciate you having me. This is a lot of fun, and actually, it gives me a little bit of a motivation, a little bit of a kick in the ass.
Well, when you're ready, I know a guy.
So. Yeah, you do know a guy. You know the best guy.
I see him every morning in the mirror.
Yeah,
Heyo.
He's handsome.
He is. That's what the wife says too. So.
Anyway.
All right, guys. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me, dude. I appreciate it.
Let's stand up.